Yes, okay, this morning we are taking a look at those student loans because, yeah, we keep hearing collections coming due here very soon for borrowers. And luckily, we've got the guy that can answer every single question.
Every single one.
Financial
no pressure, right?
Expert
Right.
Jeff Sachs, Sachs Financial, joins us to clear up any confusion you might be dealing with. Okay, first off, if you didn't see our great chat we had last half hour, which, by the way, you can check out on 5+ app, you can rewind and take a look at some stuff. But break it down what's happening here real quick.
The administration has said that they want to focus on getting the people that are in default with their student loans back on track and collecting that money. It affects right now it's about 5.3 million people, but there are another almost 5 million people that are on late stage delinquency, which is not quite default, that could be affected by all of this.
So that's about 10 million people total affected by this. So what does this mean for the borrowers out there who know you're talking about them right now?
Right. So if you are in default and you know that you're in default, this is going to directly affect your credit scores, making it harder to borrow money. So you want to make sure to not procrastinate. Usually when I come on and we say we want to turn the volume down, but I want to tell anybody out there that if you are in default of your student loan, do not procrastinate. Yeah.
Is it one of those things where if you communicate, you know how when you owe in the private world, if you communicate maybe medical bills and you get kind of on a plan, they kind of don't go after your credit score. This is federal aid.
Well, I mean, they're yes and no, but now they will. There are things that you can do if you are in that situation where you can't pay back your loan. There's the default resolution group through the Department of Education. That is like step one if you are in default, because you can't get out of default of your student loan by simply saying, oh, I'm just going to restart my payments. You have to put a payment plan together. And that is the first step, is to call that group.
Wow, that's a really good first step. Any other steps that folks can take if they're watching right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's several different options. The quickest way to get out of default is to just pay off your loan. But obviously, if you're in default, you probably don't have that money,
Can't
right?
do it, right?
So then you could do debt consolidation. There's a federal debt consolidation program. If you've already done that once, you only get one shot at that. But if you haven't done it, it may help. If you do that, though, you need to be careful, because if you are already on an income-based repayment plan, you may lose some of the credits that you've already built up. So the next thing to think about is reconciliation, and that is using that debt group through the Department of Education to set up the payment plans to kind of get you back on track. And basically what you're doing there is you're saying, I have the ability to make payments, and you're demonstrating that you can make those payments over 9 months. So 9 payments consistently, and then your loan will come out of default. The issue with doing it that way is that you're still subject to the collections while you're in default. So you're not out of default until you demonstrate that you can be rehabilitate your loan.
Wow,
right? So there are a few things to do, but it all starts with knowing where your loan is and then taking it from there.
Wow.
You can't address it until you know your status. So checking your status and being active about it, I think is what you're saying, is don't just let it sit, of
this
course.
This is not going away.
Yeah. And we did have a pause during the pandemic, but that time is clearly over. The White House pressing play.
And I think I know the quick, short answer to this one. That's about the public loans, the private loans, maybe College Ave, not applying
this is stuff. Just for the federal loans, because they're using the power of the Treasury Department to enact collections, and they're using the Department of Education's database to make sure that they can first go over this. It's sort of the the easy, accessible loans that they can get to. They want to try and collect that money.
Much easier to enforce.
Yeah, there's some pretty crucial information here. I know you're helping a lot of people as they wake up with us this morning. Now, we want to ask you about the ways that this money can be collected. We've seen this on social media, talking about the government can garnish your wages. What are some things that people should look out for to know if they are in that boat, if that could be happening, that paycheck comes up looking short, or emails that they should look for? You mentioned earlier. What should they look for?
So there'll be an email that you should have gotten. If you're in default and they have a current email address, you got an email saying this is coming. And on May 5th, they're going to start some of those collection efforts. But then they will send out a letter in the mail saying we are taking you to a federal collection agency and in starting the wage garnishments. It's not clear yet exactly how they're going to garnish your wages. We know that they have the power through the Treasury Department to take back some of the federal money that they have given you, which is the Social Security, your tax returns, and things like that.
Wow.
Wow.
Starts on Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah,
not fun.
Right.
Not a fun way to start
Not
things
a
up.
fun day.
But thank you so much, Jeff.
Absolutely.
You helped so many people who have questions about what all of this means for them in their real life. So we really do appreciate you coming.
My pleasure.
Yeah, great job. The money answer man. I'm going
Yeah,
to try it.
he's the guy.
There you go.
Make him,
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. You
Got
got to
all
let me
the
know.
answers.
Very interesting debate there. Absolutely. And as a dad with 2 kids in college, I'm watching this one here. I've got some questions. This morning, student loans are once again a concern for millions of borrowers because those collections resume next week.
That's right. And to help get you prepared, and of course to answer some questions that you all have, we brought in the expert, a financial expert, of course, from this is Jeff Sachs from Sachs Financial. Hey, Jeff, thanks so much for joining us. You know, we have tons of questions. Paul, you mentioned this is something that's in your wheelhouse right now.
Yeah, I want to know what it means, what it really means when it starts up here. What are they saying?
So what we know right now is that they've said on May 5th they're going to start collections. It's not really clear what that actually means because the announcement came out a couple weeks ago, and what they said was if you are in default, you should get an email. The problem with that is that a lot of people might not have an updated email address. So we know that the defaults they're going to focus on collecting those, and that affects almost 5.3 million people that are currently in default.
Wow. Now, you brought up that term, default, delinquency.
Right.
We hear these terms a lot, but I don't think we really know what the difference is between the two. Who falls into those categories?
So if you've missed a payment, just one payment, you're technically delinquent on your student loan. If you miss 3 payments, 3 months of payments, they will report that to the credit agencies, and it'll affect your credit for things like borrowing for a home or a car, that sort of thing.
Wow.
And then if you're 9 months delinquent, you become in default. And that's what we're talking about. And so there are a lot of people that are already in that situation, which may have not made payments because this really has not been a thing since 2020. During the pandemic, they canceled the debt collections. And so a lot of people just put that on pause, hoping that maybe in the previous administration, those loans would have gone away. So now's the time to act. I would say if you aren't sure, there's a couple really simple things that you can do.
Oh, great.
So first off is check where your loans are. If you don't know, call the servicer of your loan or go to StudentAid.gov, and there's a dashboard that you can sign into that will tell you kind of where your loan stands.
Wow, that's really good stuff. You know, it's funny, there's a lot of scams, right? I know we weren't supposed to ask about that, but we just keep hearing your student loan, a lot of scams. How do you even know what to do?
I would say if you got an email, they're not gonna call you and say, call us for your repayment, right?
Yeah.
So it's definitely gonna be an email, or you may get a letter. But again, this all came up so quickly that we don't really know how they're gonna enforce everything and what's gonna happen.
Scary. And I wonder, were loans forgiven in the previous administration?
Some
it's a complicated story.
I mean, some were, and then there was a lawsuit, and then it kind of went back and forth. So some of the loans that the previous administration were able to wipe away, there was going to be a increase in what was considered the poverty line, or what they were going to consider for collection. So this administration is sort of changing everything.
Okay.
Right?
Now, before we let you go, I have to ask you about this. We've been seeing this a lot on social media. The threat of the White House or the government garnishing your wages to get that money back from you.
Yes.
How, I mean, where do we stand with that? And when could that potentially happen? I mean, is this a true concern?
It is. So what they've said is that they're going to send out an email, or an actual, if they're going to garnish your wages, which might happen, that would be the second step. They're going to send out notifications first. And 30 days after those notifications go out via mail, they might start those collections. More likely what's going to happen is they're going to use the Treasury offset program, which is to garnish federal wages, federal benefits. If you're on Social Security, they could take up to 15% of your Social Security per month. And if you are waiting on a tax return and in default, that's key. If you're waiting on the return, they could take 100% of that tax return.
100%?
Yep.
Yeah,
100%.
Wow.
But
take
if you've
your
already
debt.
but if you've already gotten your tax return this year, they can't take it back. So they'll wait till next year.
Okay.
Oh
All
my
right.
gosh,
We've got
wow.
plenty more questions for Jeff. Absolutely. He's going to stick around again in the next half hour. We're going to be right back talking more and answering some more questions because folks need to know what's going on. It sounds like the government's going to get their money one way or another.